This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, January 27th, 2006, and this is episode number 54 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from MGMstudios.org. On the show today, we've got everyone's favorite backup 7-year-old cheerleading coach, Len Testa. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding. And we have our very own GIMP today. That's, of course, staff columnist of MousePlanet.com, Mike Scopa. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, everyone. All these people think I'm talking to them when I'm really talking to you.
That was not bad, Mike.
Muppet Vision, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You got it.
And we also have Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, guys.
Today we're going attraction by attraction in Fantasyland at the Magic Kingdom and giving our opinions on each attraction. We're not going to be giving a touring plan per se, just our views on each attraction in Fantasyland, and in the future we'll probably be giving our reviews on the other lands at the Magic Kingdom as well. So let's go from each attraction to attraction. And the first one we're going to start off with is Mickey's PhilharMagic. What is everyone's thoughts on PhilharMagic?
Mickey's PhilharMagic. I just love it. Every time I go in there, I just find that to be a very relaxing part of my touring during the day, especially at night. I can just go to that as many times as I get into the Magic Kingdom. It's a very relaxing and enjoyable attraction. The last time I was there, I just sat back, my head back. It was the day after the half marathon, and I really enjoyed myself. It's just a very, very fun type of attraction.
I would rank it, Mike, probably, it's definitely the top 2 of the 3D films at Walt Disney World.
Which is better?
Muppet Vision has the humor aspect to it. So
Yeah.
that's why it's kind of hard to rate the two. But PhilharMagic is it's probably my favorite attraction in all of Fantasyland.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think it's just, with the exception of, my only problem with it is that Aladdin scene, which looks like they ran out of money and had to do the scene, they had to animate it on a $10 budget.
That's exactly what I said. That and Ariel's hair.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Sort of travel. It's like a rug or a mat that
just follows her on her head.
Yeah, it's being animated stuff. That being said, it's a great attraction. I mean,
it is.
I think it is the best 3D movie in Walt Disney World. A couple other things that I think are really interesting. Number one is the capacity of the attraction is huge. So it was very popular for the first year or so after it opened, but now I think most of the time you can get in with very little waits. I mean, certainly you can. It's not something you have to hit first thing in the morning. You can come back later on in the afternoon and get in without a wait at all. That's great. And then it's only like 7 or 8 minutes long. So it's not overly long, which I think Muppet Vision is a little bit.
Yeah, and it's like Mike Scopa said. I mean, you can get in almost any time, and it's probably better, Len, to go during the afternoon when it gets hotter out to take advantage of A, sitting down, and B, air conditioning. Our next attraction is It's a Small World, everyone's favorite attraction to hum along to.
Mm-hmm. How does that song go again? I always forget.
It's a tough one.
Only one problem I have with Small World, and that is I don't want to be in the first or the last row in those boats, because especially if I'm with 2 gentlemen, Len, remember this? Back in April, Len and my son and I were in the front row, I believe, and I was squished. Those are new boats.
We're pretty big people. I mean,
Yeah.
We've all been working out.
Yeah. Well, pumped and jacked, but other than that, I think that the refurbishment really is nice. The colors seem vivid. I really like the white room at the end. I think they've done a really good job with the music and the fiber optics. I think they really hit a home run when they did a refurbishment of that attraction.
Yeah, I think the refurb went very well. It's vibrant. The colors are good on it. I think most of the boats are new, if not all of them, although it's tough to tell now because of the abuse it gets. But it's well done. It's a solid attraction. Again, there's rarely a huge wait for it. I don't know. I got stuck on it once, so I'm a little bitter.
Oh no!
I mean, it was It was to the point where I was ready to make a swim for it.
Or take out some of the dolls with
or I actually considered, what could they really, what could they do to me? What's the worst, And
you can no longer ride this attraction.
there mothers and fathers were on there trying to figure out which one of them would make the sacrifice to save their kids. You know? No, you wade through the water. No, you wade through the water. All right, I'm going.
Women and children first.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was. I was on it so long that I actually almost fell asleep waiting for it, but I couldn't because of the music.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine the kind of dreams you would have if you fell asleep. It'd be like that scene from Dumbo with the pink elephants.
Do you remember where you were, Len?
Yeah, it was just before the exit. It was.
That's even worse.
I couldn't see the exit. I was, but we were like 8 boats back, and I wasn't even in the room yet with all the signs that say goodbye. I was right before that, so it was right next to a speaker, and I think that was the thing that was preventing me from exiting, because it was just so loud that you couldn't hear it. And it was over and over and over. Anyway, it's not a bad ride.
Yeah, not at all. Our next attraction is Peter Pan's Flight, and I'd say this is my favorite of the character-driven classic attractions, between this and Snow White and Pooh and all that other stuff. And the thing what I don't understand is why more attractions don't utilize the ride system that Peter Pan has of being suspended.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's great. I don't know why more just haven't gone with that system.
Yeah, the thing that kind of design has going for it is that it's a constant loading design. So there's always movement. There are people always getting on. It's not like it's something like Pirates or Pirates is a good example, or Small World, where you stop and you offload and then you load. Whereas Peter Pan, it's a constant moving. It's like Spaceship Earth.
Yeah, it's a good point, and it's I think it's a good length. Although the ride itself, Len, you would probably it gets one of the longer. It tends to develop a longer line than most attractions.
Yeah, even when I was at the Disney Magic Kingdom during the marathon weekend, it was virtually everything was walk-on. Filler Magic was walk-on. Small World was like 5 minutes. Splash Mountain was walk-on. It was cold. Big Thunder was like 20. And even then, Peter Pan was still at 40 minutes at like 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So the only one I didn't do.
The problem is, it's capacity. It's not, and there's something other than capacity. It's an inordinately popular ride for the number of people who can get through it in a given hour. And it's a good attraction. It's really well done. Some of the details, especially this scene where you're flying over London, is fantastic. It comes out of capacity. They just can't move bodies through it fast enough.
Hey Len, do you know how many of those vehicles they have on that attraction? That's one thing I never checked.
I'm pretty sure it can vary. I don't think it's constant like in Dumbo, but
okay.
My guess is that they're probably running it at full capacity all the time, and I'd be surprised if they weren't.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to Len's other favorite attraction. That's Cinderella Celebration.
Is that really an attraction?
It's something. It's a stage show, obviously.
So it is, Matt. So it is. I don't have anything good to say about it, so I'm just going to be quiet.
I think Scope is the only one who's watched it, or rather enjoyed it while watching.
Oh, I've seen it.
Well, I'm looking at it from the perspective of a 7 or 8-year-old little girl who's standing in front of the castle and sees all the princesses on stage together, for the first time in her life. And I think that's the thing that I always think about, and I think that's really, really kind of neat. I
think that's a good point. And we've sometimes we don't think of when we give our reviews of things, we may not think of it as a child's perspective. The other thing I was always thinking about Cinderella Celebration is this came from Tokyo Disney, and Japan has a very distinct culture.
Insert demeaning cultural reference.
I'm trying to be positive.
How you're going to stumble into this? The Japanese. Go ahead. They are.
Yeah. But I'm trying to say without coming off as totally racist here. They have a culture, and what works over there may not work over here, and it's sort of like a reverse example would be like Euro Disney and how it suffered really terribly to begin with when it first opened because it was very American and not open to Europeans. So I'm thinking it's along those lines. Perhaps that's why it's not as up. But of course, 7-year-old girls. What are they going to argue with? Like Scopa said, it's every princess that you could think of that's up there. So. Our next attraction is Cinderella's Golden Carousel.
Yeah, I read this like 12 times a couple weeks ago.
It's still a good attraction. Nothing wrong with it, I don't think.
There are a couple of interesting things when you've been on it long enough. You realize it actually tells the story of Cinderella inside. In the carousel, there are little panels that depict the story, which are very interesting. All of the horses are white. Has anyone noticed that before?
Yep.
I believe all of the horses are white. I could be wrong on that.
Everybody wants to ride a white horse.
White horse, exactly.
So then you could tell someone if you ride with Scopa, you could tell Scopa to get off his white horse that he rode in on.
And the horse rode in on. There are it's wheelchair friendly because it's got the there are what are they carriages? What do they call them? Sleds in there. So they actually took out horses from the attraction and put in these little sleds that people could sit in without having to ride up and down on the horses. It's a really gentle ride. It only lasts like 2.5 minutes. There's never a line for it. I mean, because it holds like 85, 86 horses at a time.
Yeah, it's pretty high capacity.
Yeah, I mean, and it's 2.5 minutes. I mean, you can really pump through some people.
Yep.
So you figure, if it's cycling through a show every, say, 4 minutes, it's 15 times 80 is 1,200 people an hour.
Oh, it's like I can almost hear it in my head.
Oh my God!
What a great description, Len. You really got me thinking.
Oh my God, it's like I'm there. And actually, I have the background music for that too. That's right. They do Beauty and the Beast and stuff like that. It's there's never a wait for it. I think you can see that along with PhilharMagic anytime.
All right, Maestro, I've got the music. Thank you. I like that commanding power. And music on? Oh! No music? All right, we're moving on to the next one. Forget about it, Mike. Our next attraction is Ariel's Grotto, everyone's favorite waste of space. I think again, as a 7-year-old, I'm sure they love it over there. But I think the real problem with it is that I tend to see these kind of like little adventure lands where you could put a better attraction in there, and they kind of just use it as a cop out and create these little playlands.
Pooh's Thoughtful Place.
Yeah, same idea. Anyone have anything else to say about Ariel's Grotto?
No, I mean some of it's well designed. I mean it's cute, but again, I don't. Yeah. I would only stop by there if somebody really loved Ariel, and even then, it'd be like, can I buy a doll instead?
Sure. Next attraction is Dumbo the Flying Elephant.
I have a secret.
What's your secret?
I've never been on Dumbo.
You've never ridden it, not even as a child?
No, it's the only attraction I've never been on. I've never seen.
Wow.
It started off that as a kid I never went on it, and then when I started working for the guy, I never went on it just because I'd never been on it.
You're not missing anything.
So there's always one more thing for me to do. There's always something that I haven't done in Disney World.
Wow.
Dumbo, never done. Actually, it's funny because when I had to do the wait time stuff where we actually had to test waiting in line, I would wait all the way in line, and then when I'm ready to board, I'm like, you know what? I'm having second thoughts about this. I don't think I can do it, and then get off the ride, get out of the line, just to see what the kid behind me. And inevitably, the kid behind me were like, "Okay, thanks." But they give you like to tell who's next. It's interesting to figure out how many people can fit on the ride. They actually hand out these little green like paint chips, little plastic cards, and if there are like 24 Dumbos available, they'll get 24 groups, ones or twos, and hand them out, and then you'll know whether you're allowed to be on the ride. So they'll hand out when you're behind the gate. They'll hand out these little paint chips, and then as you pass through, if you have a paint chip, you're allowed through to board the ride. And as soon as they come to the first person that doesn't have one, they stop it, and that's how they know how many people to let on.
Huh, that's interesting. That's the only attraction that does that, right?
I think it's the only one because I actually have. I took one of the paint chips when they gave it to me, and just put it in my pocket and left. And so I have one. I was going to put it on eBay, and then I thought, nah, no one would like it but me.
Our next attraction is Snow White's Scary Adventure. Len and I have an uncanny insight into this attraction.
Yeah, that was cool.
Len, you want to tell them about it?
You can do it.
Well, Len and I last December rode with an autistic child who had ridden Snow White's Scary Adventure, how many times? 1,000 times?
More than 1,100. His name is
Yeah.
Ben. Hey, Ben. Listening?
If he's listening. Ben is being autistic. They tend to identify with a certain thing, whether it be in this case an attraction, could be I guess a TV show or a place. And Snow White Scary Adventure is his ride, and he's ridden, like Len said, about 1,100 times, and it's a thing that he just loves to do. So we rode on it a couple different times, and his parents, who have been on it, assumably I would say about another 1,100 times, have given us some interesting insight into the ride. And it was go ahead, Len.
The mental tenacity that you have to ride a ride 1,100 times is just incredible. I mean, like, I've said it on the show before. I've probably ridden the TTA a couple hundred times. I've probably ridden Pirates at least 100 times. But to go through Snow White's Scary Adventure 1,100 times is just beyond my comprehension. So I asked the parents how they got through it, and Ben's mom said that the way she got through it was by going through the attraction and figuring out what she wanted to improve on it.
Yeah, it was really interesting because she had a lot.
That's how they got through it. And they would look for hidden Mickeys, or like one of the things they told me is when you're just as you get in the ride, and this is something our listeners can do. Just as you go getting on the ride and boarding, right before you enter the ride itself, if you look up, there's a shield, and at the bottom of the shield in script letters are the initials WCS, and the family wanted to know what the initials meant, and so I had to look it up for them. And then they pointed out hidden Mickeys in the ride, little touches along the way. It was just incredible. Like, I got to send them the review for the guide to make sure that they understand that it's right, because they've clearly been on it way more than me.
I just noticed that it's a very, considering this is Fantasyland and this is obviously an area of the park that's designed for smaller children, it's a very scary ride. I mean, aptly named Scary Adventure, but you would figure,
Didn't they rename it after the rehab? Didn't it go from Snow White's Adventures to Snow White's Scary Adventures, just to reiterate the point?
I don't think anyone pays attention to it, though. I figured a little kid, Snow White, let's go ride it. Okay. They must have, like, some sort of, like, you could have a betting pool on, what kid's going to come out screaming from it, because it's, it's mostly in the dark, and it is kind of spooky, it goes around corners quickly, and, but it's an interesting attraction, certainly.
It's all in presentation. It depends on how you go through with your kids. There's a lightning sequence in Pooh, which we'll talk about shortly, that I think I've seen just as many kids freak out on. Yeah. Really, it comes down to how you take it. So. But I think it's a pretty solid attraction. I hadn't been on it until we were on it with Ben, Ron, and Sarah, but I went on again this last trip. So not bad. Again, and there's really a wait for that thing too, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's one of the more popular attractions in Fantasyland. Our next attraction is probably Scopa's favorite attraction in all of Fantasyland. That's Storytime with Belle.
And, the interesting thing is that when I was there with a couple of friends, they dragged me over there, and I actually sat down and watched it, and I was jealous because one of the dads was chosen out of the audience and got to dance with Belle, and I was upset for a while, and I said, gee, I could have been a contender. But then I realized that this was the day after the half marathon, and I was in no condition to do any tripping of the light. Fantastic. But I think that it's a very nice attraction. The cast member who plays Belle does a really good job. They do a lot of very, very hard work in getting the children up there. There are about 6 or 7 kids who are brought up to the stage, as well as a father, and they go through the little play, and I think it's a really, really nice little attraction. And then afterwards, everybody can go up and see Belle and have their photo taken with her and get an autograph. I really enjoyed it.
I think the cool thing about that is that it's a small venue. For our listeners who haven't been there, it's right across the road from Cosmic Ray Starlight Cafe. So it's really at the extreme end of Fantasyland, where Fantasyland and Tomorrowland meet around the corner from Mad Tea Party. and it can't. How many people can it hold, Mike? And it can't hold 50 people.
I think you're right, Len. I think we're talking 35 to 40 people.
Tops.
And you're right. It's very, very close, very intimate, and I think that
There's
has
no-
a lot to do with the popularity of the attraction.
Yeah, I mean it's like a spoken story. There aren't loudspeakers as far as I know. There's no piped in music or anything like that. It's just a couple of actors very close to you telling a story, and I think that's what makes it great.
Our next attraction is the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This attraction combines. They try to, I think, emulate. Yes, I can see it now. It's like I'm there right now. They try to emulate the Snow White Scary Adventures and Peter Pan in that they try to make it look like the attraction was kind of designed around the same time. But they do help incorporate some of the other things like the you can smell honey in the during the attraction during certain
Really?
parts.
I never got that.
No, it's like I don't know. Some people get it, some people don't. It's inevitably when I'm supposed to smell something, I end up like sounding like a cocaine addict. Trying to sniff really loud. And can't smell it, man.
Nice.
On that attraction, as you first enter the attraction, if you look to the immediate left, you can see a photograph. Well, it's a drawing of Mr. Toad handing the deed of the attraction over to Owl. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's in Owl, when you go into the tree house over there.
No.
Anything else about Winnie the Pooh? Nope.
Len was going to talk about the lightning sequence, weren't you, Len? It's not.
Len?
I'm sorry. What? I didn't catch
No,
it.
you're going to talk about the lightning sequence, Len? You were mentioning.
Yeah,
the
there's everyone thinks it's a cute and fuzzy ride, but there's actually a dream sequence in there with Heffalumps and Woozles, and there's lightning around it. It's a fairly loud attraction. I don't know if anyone else thinks so. It's noisy, and the first couple times I went on it, I was of course growing up by myself at Winnie the Pooh, and I was sandwiched between probably either preschool kids or maybe kindergartners, and it was a boy and a girl. One car ahead of me, one car behind me, and through the dream sequence where there's lightning flashing on and off, both of the kids started to scream. I mean, just Bloody Mary all at once.
Sorry.
And that was pretty much the theme for every time I've ever ridden Snow White Scary Adventures.
Let's move on quickly to
Not Snow White.
Winnie
Winnie the Pooh. Thank you. Duh.
Winnie the Pooh. The last attraction is the Mad Tea Party. And my only problem with this attraction is it'll probably be a fun attraction. However, I'm sure we all know some twisted soul that likes to see, what physical limits the teacups can achieve in terms of spinning. So I always end up with that person, and it's just, I come off, and then, the next few hours I spend looking, I just can't function because, I have a...
I've actually spun my sister so hard on this that she threw up in the bushes outside the ride.
That seems to be a running theme in your...
No, it was Linda this time. It was
Linda.
the other sister.
Okay.
Yeah, she got off. She was like, I don't feel so good. I don't... she kind of staggered around. I really... Great.
Note to our listeners, don't go on Mad Tea Party with Len Testa.
And we actually spun it so fast, and the ride only lasted like 2 minutes. We spun it so fast that it was my brother, her at the time boyfriend, myself, and Linda. We spun it so fast that all of our hands were blistered, except for hers. That's how fast we were trying to turn the thing.
You don't get sick on it?
I don't go on it anymore.
Yeah,
it does something to me. I don't like it anymore. I don't like the spinning, but again, I've never thrown up on that ride.
Well, that's it for us today. This has been episode number 54 of Walt Disney World Today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us your questions at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hotchberg. We'll see you on the next show.